Hi students, I hope all of you are fine at home. Today we will learn about the topic Parts of a Flower Part 2, which is under Class 11, Subject Biology. Chapter's name is Morphology of Flowering Plants. Students, in our previous video we have learned about Parts of a Flower Part 1. And today we will learn about parts of a flower part 2. Now, a flower generally has 4 floral modes. What are they? The 4 floral modes of a flower are calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Now, in our previous video, we have learned in detail about calyx and corolla. Today we will learn in detail about androecium and gynoecium. So let us start. Let us first learn about androecium. Students, you know that androecium is the male reproductive part of a flower. So androecium are composed of stamens. Each stamen represents the male reproductive organ consisting of a stalk or a filament and an anther. So you know this is the structure of the stamen. This is the anther and this is the filament of the stalk. So the stamen represents the male reproductive organ of a flower. Now each anther of the stamen is bilobe. That is, each anther of the stamen, it is having 2 lobes, 1, 2. So it is called as bilobe. And each lobe has 2 chambers. Each lobe has 2 chambers. That means if each lobe has 2 chambers, then 2 lobes will have how many chambers? 2 lobes will have 4 chambers. So the anther consisting of 4 chambers. So it consists of 4 chambers anther and it is bilobe, and each lobe has 2 chambers. The pollen sacs. The chambers are called the pollen sacs, and pollen grains are produced here. That means in these pollen sacs which are present in the anther, in these pollen sacs the pollen grains are produced. A sterile stamen called staminode. What is a sterile stamen? A stamen which does not produce any pollen grain. That is called a sterile stamen. So a sterile stamen known as staminode. Stamens of flower may be united with other members such as petals or among flower. Here you can see this is the tip, this is known as the stigma. Next, this long thin tube called the style. And next you can see this basal part, that this is the ovary. So a carpel consists of three parts, that is stigma, style and ovary. So the ovary is an enlarged basal part on which lies the elongated tube, the style. So you can see the ovary is an enlarged basal part on which lies the style. This is a elongated tube. On the ovary lies the elongated tube called the style. The style connects ovary to stigma. Now this style, you can see it is connecting the ovary to the stigma. Next, stigma. Stigma, it is usually at the tip of the style. Stigma is usually at the tip of the style, and it is the receptive surface for pollen grains, because the pollen grains from the stamens, from the anther of the stamens, it comes and stick into this stigma. So the stigma serves as the receptive surface for pollen grains. Each ovary bears one or more ovules attached to a flattened cushion-like structure called placenta. So each ovary bears one or more ovules attached to a flattened cushion-like structure called placenta. When more than one carpel is present, they may be free in case of lotus or rose and are called apocarpus. When more than one carpel is present, then they may be free in case of lotus and rose and are called apocarpus. When carpels are fused, in case of mustard and tomato, when carpels are seen to be fused, then they are known as syncarpus. After fertilization, ovules develop into seeds and the ovary matures into a fruit. Now students, we will learn about placentation. Now what is placentation? Placentation is the arrangement of ovules within the ovary. The arrangement of ovules within the ovary is known as placentation. Now the placentation can be of different types. Let us learn what are they. Marginal, axial, parietal, free central and basal. So these are the different types of placentation: marginal, axial, parietal, free central and basal. Now students, I will show you the different diagrams of these different types of placentation, and I will explain along with the diagram. So you observe the diagrams carefully and try to understand whatever I am explaining along with the diagram. This diagram shows marginal placentation. In marginal placentation, you can see the placenta forms a ridge along the ventral side of the ovary, and the ovules are borne on this ridge, forming two rows as in P. Next is the axial placentation. When the placenta is axial and the ovules are attached to it in a multilocular ovary, that means multilocular means divided into many chambers. So when the placenta is axial and the ovules are attached to it in a multilocular ovary, the placenta is said to be axial, as in China rose, tomato and lemon.
Next is the parietal placentation. In parietal placentation, the ovules develop on the inner wall of the ovary or on peripheral part. Ovary is one-chambered, but it becomes two-chambered due to the formation of false septum. Example in case of mustard and argemone. Next, when the ovules are borne on central axis and septa are absent, as in dianthus and primrose, the placentation is called free central. So this is a free central placentation. Next is the basal placentation. In basal placentation, the placenta develops at the base of ovary and a single ovule is attached to it, as in sunflower and marigold.
So students, this is all about today's topic, that is parts of flower part 2. I hope students you have understood this topic properly. So study properly at home. Keep watching the videos and stay safe. Thank you.